Beautiful people, this is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. As you guys can see, I have a very, very special and illustrious guest, Symone Stanley, a.k.a. Symone with the sports. What's going on, my sister? How you feeling?
I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. I can't complain. Like I said to you before, I'm super glad, super grateful for you to be able to take the time out your busy schedule just to, check in with me and come on the channel. And I had to pick your brain about what's been going on with these Eagles because a lot's been happening. But real quick before we even get to the Eagles, like I've been keeping up with your journey for I guess for as long as I found your channel. Maybe for about since about 2020, I discovered your channel, and I love what you do. I got a lot of respect for what you do. Got a lot of respect for your approach to, the sports media game, man. I got to pick your brain on just how did you get your start? Like, how did your sports media journey even begin?
It began, I guess. Well, in college, I majored in sports management. I went to NC State. So there, through my major, like we got involved pretty much on campus in anything we want to get involved with, athletics wise. So, we had a decent basketball team. We had a really good football team. Randomly, we were like really good at wrestling. So we hosted a lot of like the ACC wrestling tournaments were held on our campus. And then, of course, track and field and cross country was good as well. So I was able to get involved through that. And then once I graduated, I did when I was in school, I did an internship with the Charlotte Hornets.
Wow.
I went to school in Raleigh, but my first internship was with the Charlotte Hornets. So that was on the business side of things. So that really helped me like kind of get started just being a part of an organization and having that on my resume. Then when I graduated college, I moved to Atlanta to start like my freelance career and all that. So I started working with the newspaper down here, and with the newspaper, I covered the Hawks, Falcons, the WNBA team, Georgia Tech college basketball team and football team. And then I also interned with the Atlanta Dream, the WNBA team down here. So that really helped me out as well. So now I'm full-time covering prep baseball and basketball. So I work full-time doing that. And then I work part-time for HBCU Game Day, where I cover HBC football and basketball. And then, of course, I do my YouTube. And then I'm also a PA announcer and stuff.
Oh yeah, yo, yes. I already know your schedule is already off the hook, off the chain, and I hear so many different things along your journey. Interning and working your way up, working for the news station, and just freelancing and and uh picking up things along the way. That's so dope to hear. What year did you graduate from college?
2019. Well, December 2018, basically 2019.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I graduated May 2017.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, in radio and television broadcasting. So it's so interesting how what I'm hearing is that the moment you graduated, you immediately had to go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that motivating factor for you? Obviously, the love for the game, the love for sports, but you clearly had that go getter mentality, making sure that you got your hands in so many different pots. Where does that motivation, where does that instinct come from?
Honestly, I don't really know because kind of in college, I kind of wasted a lot of time in college. Like a lot of people would say, like, "Oh, I had like a really great resume in college," and I probably did, but I feel like I wasted. Like I really didn't get serious until like my end of my junior year. Once I did my internship with the Hornets, I did that my junior year going into my senior year, and that's where I was really started to get motivated. But honestly, I don't know where motivation came from because before my junior year of college, I had no motivation at all. So I
Wow.
guess just a switch flipped on, and then I had to. I mean, you know how it is. It's hard. You can't be stagnant in the sports industry, especially in sports media. If you stagnant, you get moved out. It's not like another industry like accounting where it's just easy to get a job. And like if you have an accounting degree, like every company has an accounting department. You can move companies easily. Or if you're at HR, every company has an HR department. Not every company has a sports department, and then
Right.
not every company has a sports media department at that. So just because the jobs are so few in between, and it's only X amount of jobs, and then especially in our industry, people don't retire. Once they get in certain positions, they stay in those positions for like 40, 50 years. So you gotta be aggressive.
Wow. So like you went to school and majored in sports management, but you're in sports media. How did that transition happen?
I don't know. It wasn't even really a transition. Well, when I majored in sports management, I didn't really have like a area of sports in mind. Really, when I was in college, I did everything pretty much: operations, business, accounting, marketing, some social media, game day stuff. I pretty much did everything. I didn't have, like I said, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, honestly, until probably I graduated. I just had my sports background, so it was easy for me to get within companies, just because of the background that I had from college. But I mean, people always kept telling me I should do sports media, but I honestly never really thought it was realistic, just because, like I said, how hard it is to, one, get in the door, two, stay in the door, because, like I said, you got to be doing a bunch of stuff and you always got to be on it. So I guess before quarantine, what's 2019? I just came down to Atlanta with $1 and a dream, pretty much, and just got to work. So I don't remember when I had like a hard set, like I want to get into sports media, but once I got to Atlanta, I think I saw how many freelance opportunities was available. So 2019.
Right. So did you know about the opportunities prior to going to Atlanta, or you kind of just say, you know what, I want to get to Atlanta, and then from that point I'll figure it out?
I know I sound like an absolutely crazy person, but literally, I'll go to Atlanta and I'll figure it out when I get there. That's honestly like pretty much. So once I came down here, I started working for the Atlanta Braves doing operations. So I was working for the Braves and the Atlanta Dream at the same time. And then, but neither one of those, like I said, were like on camera positions. And so, and in the meantime, between those, like I was doing those to pay my bills, but then also having those organizations on my resume, even though it wasn't in the media side, like when I'm still applying to other jobs, it still helped me out with the media jobs, because they're like, oh, you've been around sports organization before, you've been around before, you know what I mean? So even though it wasn't sports media, still having those organizations. So at that point, I had the Braves, the Atlanta Dream, and the Charlotte Hornets on my resume. So when I was applying to a sports media job, even though I was doing different stuff for them, I still had those names on my resume. So then I started working for the newspaper, freelance. So that's when I would freelance, cover Hawks games, cover the Falcons games, cover Georgia Tech. So that was all on the side for the newspaper, and pretty much barely making any money. Like that wasn't, I was paying my bills off the Braves and the Dream. So, but that getting those, starting at the newspaper is what, being out in the field, you know, getting some stuff on film, getting some stuff on tape, that helped me out. And being out in the field for the newspaper, that's how I met the guy who works for HBCU Game Day. So being out, that's how I met, you know, the guy from HBCU Game Day. So now I work at HBCU Game Day part-time, covering sports and stuff for them. And then like while I'm out doing that, then I'll meet other people. So like at my job now, like I said, covering prep baseball mainly, I met this guy. He has an organization called Minority Baseball Prospects, and they are outlet. They put on events for minority baseball prospects, high school, college, and those in the draft league as well. So like I meet him out there. I meet him while I'm at work. They want me to do some interviews. They want me to cover some events for them. So it's just all about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like being in Atlanta, I'm not saying like, where I'm from is a very small town. We don't have that many professional sports and all that. So I wouldn't be able to do all the kind of freelance stuff that I can do in Atlanta, because we just don't have those events coming to town all the time. And we don't have those professional teams in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Right. So wait, where'd you say you were from in North Carolina?
Greensboro.
Greensboro?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I gotta ask, where do the Philadelphia Eagles fit in there? Because
honestly,
you gotta tell me how that came into fold, because you are an Eagles fan from what I could tell.
So I literally just put out a full video on that, because I get that question a million times. So I literally just put out a video on my channel. I hate to do this. I hate it. But for the full
Okay.
explanation, go check out that video for the full explanation. But because it's really, I'm long-winded, so I really can't give you a lot. We said we got a little bit of time. I really can't. I'm long-winded. So,
Hey, I'm on your time. So I follow your lead.
So, like I said, go check out that video. It's really an anticlimactic answer, but the video is there. It's literally, how did I become a Philadelphia Eagles fan?
Wow. Okay, so y'all heard that, right? Make sure y'all go subscribe to Symone with the Sports. Well, the name is Symone Stanley on YouTube. Her show is called Symone with the Sports. Exactly. So just make sure y'all type in Symone with the Sports, Symone Stanley, whatever you gotta do to find her channel. The link is definitely down below. Make sure you guys go subscribe and also like her content. Also, if you guys are tuned into this live stream as well, make sure you guys go like the video, subscribe to me as well. The love is always felt. Really appreciate you guys for being a part of the show. So, speaking of these Philadelphia Eagles, I gotta ask you, I gotta pick your brain. The Philadelphia Eagles have made so many moves this offseason. They brought in an influx of talent. They have a second year with this new coaching staff. I got to ask you, what are some of your overall thoughts right now when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles offseason? And then we'll get into some nuance.
I think we have, and I think I say this pretty much every offseason, not every offseason, but I say this a lot of offseason, but this was definitely the best offseason that I can remember in my lifetime. And I hate to be dramatic, but it is. I mean, going into the season, I made several videos literally about like my off-season wish list. And all of those came true. Like, what my biggest things I said was, one, I do not want to draft a wide receiver. I said we could draft a wide receiver in the later rounds, but I do not want to draft a wide receiver with our early picks. One, we didn't do that. And two, I said I want us to obtain a big body wideout, a veteran, big body, already star receiver via trade or free agency. Ding, 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 ding. That came true. Only because I keep saying we don't do good developing receivers. So it's no point of drafting one of those receivers in the first round. We got lucky with Devonta Smith because he was already NFL ready. He didn't need any development. I didn't trust us drafting one of these Chris Olaves, Garrett Wilsons, and then us not developing them. What do? We traded for A.J. Brown. I said, too, I wanted to focus on defense in this draft. What did we do? Jordan Davis. I said, please give me Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd. And what happened? We got freaking Nakobe Dean. Plus, I said we need to get a lockdown corner. What happened? James Bradberry. Also, I said, too, we need to address the tight end room. And we did. We got Grant Calcaterra. And then, so all that happened for me, which was amazing. I love that. I love it. The only thing that didn't get addressed was their freaking Barnett. But, hey.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. When I saw he got re-signed, because remember, he got re-signed so early in the offseason, we were scratching our heads like, hold on, wait, we got so many other things to worry about. Why is he getting the bag first?
That had me worried. That honestly had me worried. Like, why is this our first priority? And then we locked up Anthony Harris, too. So I'm like, even before the draft, we're bringing Anthony Harris back and Derek Barnett. What kind of bull is this? But then, Howie Roseman, look, I've talked a lot of trash, talked a lot of all that kind of stuff on my channel. But one thing I can honestly not remember, I've never talked bad about Howie Roseman. Yeah, you can go back in my Rolodex and look. I've never trash talked Howie Roseman. Now, I've trash talked Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon.
Right.
Obviously Carson Wentz, but I honestly do not ever think I've said anything bad about Howie Roseman because I've never thought of Howie Roseman as a bad GM, honestly.
Right.
And then now, of course, he's the man of the offseason. Exactly.
And it's interesting because, I've always given Howie, you see, like, all right, born and raised, I was born and raised in Philly, I see everything firsthand, right? And, one thing I can say, I've always been hard on Howie Roseman, but I've always known who he is. He's a numbers guy. He's a guy that's really good with maneuvering contracts and trade negotiations and, moving through free agency and, all the and being a cap finesser, you know what I mean? Fleecing teams like that's That's a cap dog. Exactly. That's exactly how he moves. His weakness has always been talent evaluation. Now, these past 2 seasons, you can even, if you even want to consider the 2018 year, that draft class that had Dallas Goedert, Josh Sweat, Avonte Maddox, Jeremy Lotta, you know, Howie Roseman is starting to turn a page when it comes to evaluating the talent. Now you can say, well, maybe he's starting to listen to his scouts more. Okay, maybe he's starting to actually listen to some other voices. Maybe he's starting to listen to the football guys. You can make whatever point you want to make. But my question to you is Howie Roseman evolving as a GM in front of our very eyes?
Like I said, I've never, and especially since you go back to, hold on.
You good? You all good?
I've never, yeah, it's just my camera.
You all good. You all good. But like, Howie, he's done so many different things throughout this offseason and the previous offseason, and you have no choice but to respect it. Drafting Devonta in that first round, and then finding Landon Dickerson in that second round, and then on top of that, drafting finding Quez Watkins, right, and then drafting my man Nakobe Dean, like you mentioned, right? Hit the steal of the third round. He's starting to take his evaluation of talent to another level in ways that we really didn't see coming, right? So, like I asked you, like, do you think he's beginning to evolve as that GM?
Yeah, he's probably, like I said, like you said too, Howie's strengths have always been being a capologist, being the one who's gonna finesse a trade so we can trade up and get Carson Wentz, so we can trade up and get Devonta Smith. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, I guess I feel like he's definitely, based off this season, yes, I feel like this is the only off season where he's really, like, top to bottom, not even just the draft, but the free agency too, really addressed every need
right
that we had. Like, and it's not impossible. It could have been done these other off seasons. Like, we always get like one big piece or whatever, but we keep neglecting other pieces. And I think us signing James Bradberry, like getting that cornerback piece, just really is what took Howie Roseman over the edge. Because in these last 2 drafts, I was very much concerned about the fact, like, why are we waiting so long to draft a cornerback when in the last draft, the cornerback was one of our biggest needs as well? Like, why are we waiting so long to draft a cornerback? This season, I was nervous about that too. When we went in and we still didn't get a cornerback, I was nervous. So, but once we signed Bradberry, I feel like this is definitely the time where he definitely not just listens to the fans, because, I mean, we know what we're talking about. We know, like, it's not like we just saying go trade. I mean, some people did want to trade for Tyreek Hill, but it's not like we're asking for outlandish things. I think this is the time where he actually looked up and down, evaluated what we needed, and went and got everything. Like, and you don't have to make a big splash move to do that. I mean, of course, AJ Brown was a big splash move, but you don't have to have a splashy move to do that, to address needs. I think this is the first offseason where he really went and addressed every single need.
Right. And everything didn't seem, the most beautiful thing about him addressing the needs was none of his decisions seemed hasty or forced, right? Everything really appeared calculated. He was patient throughout the off season. He was patient until he got his star wide receiver in AJ Brown. He was patient, during draft night, allowing the board to come to him, right? Allowing the board to flow in his favor. And, he's made so many significant and various moves, to make this team better on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. He's fortified the linebacker room in ways that I didn't ever think would be possible for the Philadelphia.
Right. Like,
so what's your thoughts on that?
On what, the linebacker room specifically, or
the linebacker room and just how he adjusts, because we didn't see that coming.
Yeah, because a lot of people, when I was like doing video, I mean, we know we needed a oomph at freaking edge, pretty much every level. We needed an oomph at edge. We needed an oomph at linebacker. We needed a big oomph at safety and a big oomph at cornerback. So when I'm making these videos talking about our needs and I'm talking about linebacker, now, of course, we went into the draft. I went into the draft thinking Nakobe Dean was a first-round talent. I honestly don't even remember where Devin Lloyd went. Devin Lloyd being a first-round talent, those are 2 guys I was heavily interested in. And so many people are like, oh, we're not getting a linebacker. Howie Roseman doesn't do linebackers. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, hold on, wait. It's 2022. Times are changing. I said, y'all, it's a new year. Like, maybe Howie Roseman evolved. I'm saying this before the draft. And what happens? Boom. Third pick. What happens? We freaking get Nakobe Dean, a huge steal. Somebody who, like I said, was projected to be a round talent. Right. And not just that. We signed Kaiser White even before the draft. So now TJ Edwards, who was our best linebacker last season, is now linebacker 3. So Howie Roseman has changed, y'all. He's put a big emphasis this offseason on the linebacker room, and it just cannot be denied. I mean, we got Hassan Reddick as well, but more like a pass rusher. But still, at the same time, the LBs are different, and Howie Roseman is different. And I think that's going to make up for, the lack of talent at safety.
I couldn't agree with you more on that. Shout out to Jersey Boy with the $2 super chat. Thank you, my man, for supporting the channel and the live stream. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to Symone with the Sports. The link is down below in the description. So make sure you guys smash the like button on her content, subscribe to her, hit that notification bell, do whatever you got to do to make sure you don't miss Symone with the Sports and any of her content. But also, Jersey Boy had a question. He says, what are realistic expectations for this season? Symone, you want to take that away?
First of all, what's up, Jersey Boy, my man? Listen, I'm tired of people saying, oh, the Eagles can win the division. Oh, no. The Eagles can make the playoffs. Making the playoffs is an expectation every year. That's a given. Y'all, and especially since the NFC East is so much, the NFC is so much weaker than it was. Like, making the playoffs now in the NFC should be much easier. All that talent done moved over to the AFC. So, last season, we took a stank team, a team that started off stank, that was not running the ball, and a quarterback that half the fan base and coaching staff was not convinced on, and we took that team to playoffs. Going to the playoffs is a given. Our goal is, one, to not only win the NFC East, which should not be hard, but two, we need to win a playoff game this season. So that's where the meter moves. Like last season, just making it to the playoffs was like, wow, like the way we started. We had a tough schedule last season. Even though our team and our coaching staff was new and didn't figure stuff out early, we cannot deny that our schedule was tough last season for any team.
It was front loaded for sure.
Definitely. So the fact that we even made the playoffs, still great. But this season, we need to win a playoff game. We should be winning the NFC East, meaning we should have a higher seeding, and we should be playing one of them lower teams. And like I said, the NFC is not as dangerous as it was last season. So the expectation is win a playoff game. And I hate that that's an expectation, like win a playoff game. But that's the expectation. Next season, Super Bowl, period.
You know what? I couldn't really agree. I couldn't really agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. Shout out to Jersey Boy with the $2 super chat. This team, there are, the expectations continue to rise, right? Not just amongst the team, but when you take it to a deeper level, expectations amongst individuals such as Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni as the head coach, Jonathan Gannon as the defensive coordinator. And when you think about those three guys specifically, they have, at this point in particular, they have everything they should need to be successful.
Jalen Hurts and Jonathan Gannon they're on their, I guess you would say, hot seat. So both of them guys, Jonathan Gannon got away with a lot of excuses last season. Oh, he didn't have the linebackers, he didn't have the edge rushers, he didn't have the corners to fit his scheme. But now he's got all that. Jalen Hurts, somebody who I have defended to the cows come home. Now, don't make me look silly, because now you have the run game. You have chemistry with your coaching staff. You're now going into the second season with the same coaching staff, with the same playbook. You got the offensive line. You got the run game. You got 2 wide receivers now. So, yeah, both of those guys there's no excuses for them at the end of this season or midway through the season, because changes will have to be made if the team is not meeting expectations.
Would you say there's equal pressure on those guys, or one person has slightly more pressure than the other?
Well, I think Jalen Hurts has. Now, I'm not gonna say it's fair pressure, but Jalen Hurts definitely has way more pressure on him than Jonathan Gannon. I feel like Jonathan Gannon can hide more if he's not doing well. Like he can try to blame stuff on like, oh, this player, or maybe poor tackling, or try to blame something on like, you know, some guys not reading routes right. Like he can hide more. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts, once that ball snap under them bright lights and you out there,
You're spitting right now.
There's nowhere Jalen Hurts can hide. You know what I'm saying? There's nowhere he can hide. There's nobody we can say, oh, like, because last year I said, okay, he doesn't have the run game. You know what I'm saying? We're not running the ball. Who looks successful throwing the ball that many times? You know what I mean? Then we got the run going. And you know what? That made him look better. But then also he still struggled. I said he doesn't have a big body wideout. He doesn't have a true traditional X receiver. You know what I mean? A lot of the really good, great quarterbacks have that. Now he has that. He got the offensive line. He got the run game. He got the RPO. Plus he got the big body receiver, his best friend. So there's just no excuses there.
No, you're right. The most interesting thing about bringing in a guy like A.J. Brown, right, what it does is, you know, what makes him elite, in my humble opinion, is that, or what makes a wide receiver elite is not just the ability to catch the ball in traffic, but also the ability to clean up for your quarterback's mistakes. Those are the top tier wide receivers. Those that make every ball look easy, make every catch look the same. Those that have that wide catch radius, like Stretch Armstrong. You get what I mean? So, you know, what do you anticipate, or what do you think fans should expect from that wide receiver duo of A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith? Then if you want to throw in Quez Watkins to make it a trio, because if you think about what they each bring to the table, A.J. Brown, that big body wide receiver with a wide catch radius, catch a 50-50 ball, you know, can break almost any tackle, can also be used in a blocking game, a running game. And then you have a Devonta Smith, a guy who's, you know, lanky, but he's a route running technician, a perfectionist with his footwork, and, you know, has probably the most technique out of every wide receiver we probably have, you know, just from catching sideline catches, hands like glue, reliable, you know, averages 15 plus yards, 14 plus yards of reception, just like A.J. Brown. Then you got Quez Watkins, that barn burner, a guy that can take the top off of your defense, a guy that's someone that you have to pay attention to no matter what. So what do you think, you know, what can we expect from those three guys, you know, together, you know, in the 2022 season?
All of those guys. Okay, so when you say what to expect, are you saying like stat wise or like?
So I guess whatever you make of it, right? Because we can throw stats out there all we want. That's the easy part. I think more so what can each piece do for the other piece? How can each piece make the other person's job easier? You know what I mean?
Well, one, double teams. A.J. Brown, there's nobody you can leave open, and then you can even throw Dallas Goedert in there too. There's nobody you can leave open anymore on this team. Devonta Smith is a double team attractor within himself. A.J. Brown, we know, is a guy that attracts a lot of double teams, and even Dallas Goedert sometimes. But now we have all three of those guys, plus somebody like Quez, and then two, Zach Pascal as well. So if you do want to cover AJ, if you do want to cover Devonta Smith, we just have a depth of weapons now on offense that those guys are all going to be able to benefit from each other now being on the team. The only thing is, and it's not necessarily a negative, but we do have to get the passing game going more, because now that we have all of those receivers, which is a good thing to have, those guys want to and need to get fed. So we know last season we were a running team. We were really run heavy, and that worked for us, you know, until it did. But we're going to have to throw the ball. Jalen Hurts going to have to throw the ball way more than he did last season. He's going to have to throw the ball well. Not saying that he can't or won't, but that's going to be the expectation, because when you bring in somebody like A.J. Brown and you now have somebody like Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown is going to be taking, you know, targets and whatever away from Devonta Smith, and Devonta Smith was already dissatisfied with his targets last season, even without A.J. Brown there. So now you have A.J. Brown, who's going to be sharing targets with Devonta Smith, and like I said, you got Quez as well in the slot, and Dallas Goedert too. Jalen, and not necessarily it's on Jalen, but we got to make sure all of those guys are happy and all of those guys are getting fed, because there's no point of having all of those guys if we're not going to utilize them right. So that's the only thing. We're going to have to be prepared to air it. Jalen's going to have to be prepared to air that ball out this season. And there should be no problem, because like I said, somebody is going to be open between Devonta, the way Devonta Smith got open last season, and now you got somebody like AJ Brown who they have to completely respect on the field with you. There's no reason why all those guys can't have a really good season.
All right. Two more questions for you, and then we can get out of here. So I got to pick your brain on the Miles Sanders situation. Miles Sanders is in a very, very unique situation right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. So a situation he hasn't been in yet because he's still in his rookie deal. He's in a contract year right now, and he's due to get paid by someone, right? Mm-hmm. And he's had, I guess, for lack of better terms, an underwhelming past 2 seasons, mainly due to health. What's your outlook on Miles Sanders this season, and do you honestly think there's a scenario where he does return for the 2023 season?
I don't think we're giving Miles Sanders a bag, and I don't want us to give Miles Sanders a bag. Now, if we offer him less, I'm not sure like what his max amount would be, but I'm sure we're going to offer him something, and he might think he can get more somewhere else. And if he does and can, then thank you for your services. You're forever bleeding green. Appreciate for what you've done. But in my world where Symone DeShields is the GM, I do not pay running backs. I don't. Because now Miles Sanders is a great running back. And like you said, he has been a victim to not only injuries, but also being underutilized. In Doug's last tenure, he was underutilizing him. In the beginning of last season, when we weren't running the ball, we were underutilizing him. So not only was he victim to injuries, he was also victim to bad play calling as well. So he did draw a short straw, but Miles is just not, we cannot use Miles enough. For somebody, a running back who's getting paid big bucks, in my opinion, has to be a running back who is a 3-down running back.
A Derrick Henry type. A Derrick Henry type, right? A guy that's used like literally he is the offense.
Exactly. Christian McCaffrey type. And those guys are unicorns. They don't come around all the time. So when they do, like a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who not only using the running game, but passing game as well. Same with Derrick Henry. Those are the guys you lock up money-wise. But a Miles Sanders, I'm sorry, he's a dime a dozen running back in my opinion. He has some good plays and some elusiveness and some, shake somebody off and take offness. But he has not shown he is a big ticket running back. And like I said, running backs come every draft. We have running backs in the stable who's ready to come out too. I'm really excited to see what Kennedy Brooks can do. That guy had 3 1,000-yard seasons in college. And +2, when we have such a good offensive line, you don't need a $90 million running back behind Lane Johnson and Landon Dickerson. You can get a freaking cheap rookie running back behind.
Listen, we could run back there and get some yards. Like
our offensive line is too good to be having a $90 million running back behind it. When you have an offensive line that good, that's when you have the luxury of having some cheap backs back there. Because I'm sorry, I've never played football, but the running back position, come on now, when you got a really good offensive line, it doesn't take that much skill set. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's why most of these teams are operating from a running back by committee, situation.
I wouldn't have paid Zeke Elliott what they paid Zeke. So it's not even.
Don't worry, they regret it. Don't worry, they regret it already.
Right.
They regret it. Speaking of the Cowboys,
you got Tony Pollard out there doing what Zeke's doing. So why you making $90 million next to me and I'm doing what you're doing? Like I don't pay running backs in my world. I don't. So
I can't even argue with that logic. As a matter of fact, the players understand that because most of the players now, they all the kids coming up these days, they want to play wide receiver now, and that's where all the money going. So exactly, they know what's up. They know exactly what's up. So my final question, you say you had the Eagles, winning the NFC East. Now I need to know what's your, and I know not everyone does this, but I want to know if you've thought about it. What is your record prediction for the Philadelphia Eagles? And also, out of all the games on the schedule, I'm not sure how much you've looked at the schedule, but what's your record prediction for the Eagles? And on top of that, what's what are the litmus test games? What are the games that you need to see us win to know that okay, we're legit?
Okay. I'm an optimist, so I'm always guessing high than we ever do. But I'm gonna say we're gonna win 13 games.
Okay.
Just because of how easy our schedule is. Now I have us losing 2 division games. Y'all figure that out amongst yourselves. And then 2 non-division games. But I think one of the litmus test games is going to definitely be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I say
interesting.
I say that because Pittsburgh, they've had underwhelming talent at least last year. I don't want to say they had an underwhelming season, but they have been struggling with talent. They've had a lot of injuries. They had a lot of turnover. They have a brand new quarterback this season. They've got Mitch Trubisky, and then they drafted Kenny Pickett as well. So first season without Ben Roethlisberger. And I think Ben last year really hurt the Steelers. He hurt them way more than he helped them. I think if they had made an earlier change at quarterback, they would have been better off. So who knows? Kenny Pickett or whatever might hit the ground running. But anyways, the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think we definitely have them out talent-wise on paper, but that's going to definitely be a game where it's going to be a litmus test because that's one we should win on paper, but it's going to come down to coaching. I think that's one of the toughest coaches on our schedule is going to be Mike Tomlin. And it's going to be interesting to see what a Jonathan Gannon going to do, what a Nick Sirianni going to do going against a team like that who's been fundamentally sound my whole lifetime. So I think that's going to be a litmus test game. Another litmus test game, maybe the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to be on the road for that game. I don't think we've ever beat the Cardinals on the road. So that's going to be a tough game. They have a lot of tough talent, but at the same time, I don't know because Kyler Murray still has his drama with the team. Who knows if they're going to have that ironed out. And D-Hop, didn't he get suspended like 12 games or something?
Like 6 games. So he's going to be out when we play. He's going to be out when we play though.
So yeah, let me scratch that. That's still a litmus test because that should be a game we should win. So that is a litmus test. And then I guess the Tennessee Titans as well, a team that was going deep in supposedly in the AFC last season, still has a lot of talent. Defensively, that's going to be a good game to see Jonathan Gannon against. They did get Treylon Burks. I know they lost to A.J. Brown, but they did get Treylon Burks, and that's a guy who I wanted on the Philadelphia Eagles if we didn't end up trading for somebody like A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks was somebody I wanted. So I think the Steelers, Titans, and Cards are going to be those litmus test games. But then also at the same time, the sorry teams are really the litmus test games because those are the games we should be going in and winning. We shouldn't be dropping any of those sorry team games.
Absolutely. I feel you 100%. Symone, you have been spectacular on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time out. You've given a lot of insight. You've actually made me think about something in terms of just the games that we should gauge our team on, and that's that Steelers matchup. That arguably may be the toughest game coaching wise, and I didn't think about that. That is a very good point, and I appreciate you for that. But again, thank you so much for coming onto the channel. Your words have truly permeated through the live chat, and everybody is, going crazy right now. And, I'm just, I'm grateful at the end of the day because we're all trying to, grow in this sports media game. We're all trying to learn from each other. And, you somebody that you're someone that I watch closely. Like I watch your grind. I watch how you move around, and, it's truly something to marvel at, and it's truly inspirational. So I want you to, of course, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, I want you to truly understand, you killing it right now. Even if you don't think you are, you killing it right now. And again, I appreciate you for coming on the channel. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to Symone with the sports. The link is down below in the description. You guys have been amazing. Symone, any final words before we get out of here?
I guess just fly, Eagles fly.
Exactly. Y'all heard it here first, y'all. Symone with the sports is and was on Chalk It Up Sports with your boy Tone DeShields II, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry. And we're out of here, y'all.